The Krulthax vessels appeared without warning above Earth's major cities in 2087. The massive black ships hung silently in the sky, blocking the sun and casting long shadows over terrified people below. In Seoul, Admiral Lee stood frozen at the command center window, his normally stern face pale with shock. "Sir, they're broadcasting on all frequencies," reported Lieutenant Choi, her fingers flying across the control panel. "It's breaking through our security protocols like they don't even exist." The screens around them flickered, then displayed a creature unlike anything humans had seen before. Its body was covered in overlapping plates that looked like dark metal. 6 yellow eyes blinked independently across a face that seemed more machine than flesh. "Humans of Earth," began the harsh, clicking voice now echoing from every device capable of producing sound. "We are the Krulthax Dominion. We have watched your species and found you lacking. You will surrender your world and serve us, or we will destroy you completely. You have 30 Earth days to dismantle your weapons and prepare to be ruled. Resistance is pointless and will only cause you pain." The message repeated 3 times before cutting off, leaving a stunned silence across the planet. Admiral Lee turned to his staff. "Get me the president. Now." Within hours, world leaders gathered in an emergency meeting. The United Nations building in New York buzzed with panic as representatives argued about how to respond. Some wanted to fight immediately. Others urged surrender to save lives. "Our missiles can't even reach their ships," shouted the Russian delegate, pounding his fist on the table. "They've created some kind of energy field around Earth that's blocking our satellite communications and weapons systems." "Perhaps we can negotiate," suggested the Canadian representative. "Find some middle ground that preserves human dignity while..." She was interrupted by a massive boom that shook the building. Everyone rushed to the windows. Outside, one of the alien ships had positioned itself directly above New York Harbor. A beam of intense blue light shot down from the vessel, striking the water. In seconds, the harbor froze solid, trapping dozens of ships in place. "That was their response to our attempt to communicate," said President Garcia, entering the chamber. "They've demonstrated similar power in Beijing, Moscow, and London in the last hour. Their message is clear: they can destroy us without effort." The room fell silent until Dr. Yoon stepped forward. Small and unassuming, she didn't look like someone who might save humanity. As the head of the top-secret Genesis initiative, few people even knew her name. "There may be a way," she said quietly. "My team has been developing something. Something that could give us a fighting chance." President Garcia frowned. "What kind of something, Doctor?" "A way to enhance human capabilities beyond normal limits. We call it the Prometheus Protocol." Dr. Yoon pulled out a tablet and showed them footage of laboratory tests. "It combines genetic modification with advanced nanotechnology to create soldiers with extraordinary abilities." The room erupted with questions. Dr. Yoon waited for quiet before continuing. "The procedure is dangerous and experimental. We've only tested it on tissue samples and computer models. We would need volunteers willing to risk everything, and even then, success isn't guaranteed." Admiral Lee studied the data carefully. "How long would it take to implement this protocol on actual humans?" 2 weeks for the full transformation, if everything goes right," Dr. Yoon replied. "Which gives us just enough time before the aliens' deadline." The debate raged for hours. Some called it unethical, others said it was their only hope. Meanwhile, the Krulthax ships remained in position, a constant reminder of the threat hanging over them. Finally, President Garcia made her decision. "We'll proceed with the Prometheus Protocol while maintaining the appearance of compliance. Let the aliens think we're preparing to surrender while we develop our response." Admiral Lee was appointed to oversee the military aspect of the project. He immediately began selecting potential candidates from special forces units worldwide. That night, as Dr. Yoon prepared to travel to the hidden Genesis facility in the mountains, she paused to look up at the alien ships visible through her window. "You expect us to kneel," she whispered to the cold, distant vessels. "But you don't understand humans very well." Her phone buzzed with a message. The first volunteers had already arrived at the facility. Among them was Commander Kong, one of South Korea's most decorated soldiers. His message was simple: ready to become whatever humanity needs to survive. Dr. Yoon gathered her research and headed for the door. The race to save Earth had begun. The Genesis facility lay hidden deep beneath the mountains, carved into solid rock and shielded from detection. Commander Kong walked through the steel doors, joining 99 other soldiers from around the world. They stood in nervous groups, elite warriors all, yet uncertain about what awaited them. Dr. Yoon entered the main chamber, her small frame seeming to grow as she addressed them. The room fell silent. "Thank you for volunteering," she said, her voice echoing in the vast space. "What I'm about to show you must remain secret. If the Krulthaks learn of our plan, they will strike immediately." A large screen lit up, displaying human DNA strands alongside complex diagrams. "The Prometheus Protocol has 3 parts," Dr. Yoon explained. "First, we modify your genetic code to enhance your physical capabilities. Second, we introduce specialized nanites into your bloodstream that will repair damage and adapt to threats. Third, we rewire parts of your nervous system to increase your reaction time and sensory perception." Commander Kong raised his hand. "Will we still be human after this?" Dr. Yoon looked at him directly. "You will be more than human. But I won't lie to you, the process is painful, and not everyone will survive it. This is your last chance to leave." No one moved. "Then we begin tomorrow at dawn," Dr. Yoon said. "Rest well. It may be the last peaceful sleep you'll have for some time." That night, Kong couldn't sleep. He stared at the ceiling of his small room, thinking about his family and soul. His wife and daughter lived in the shadow of one of the alien ships. When he closed his eyes, he saw the massive black hull hovering over their apartment building. Morning came too quickly. The volunteers were divided into groups of 20. Kang's group went first. They changed into simple medical gowns and entered a chamber filled with glass tanks. "These containment units will hold you during the transformation," Dr. Yoon said. "The liquid inside supplies nutrients and helps deliver the nanites throughout your body." Kong stepped into his tank. Cold liquid filled it quickly, rising to his chest, then his neck. A mask was placed over his face, allowing him to breathe. The last thing he saw before they closed the tank was Dr. Yoon's worried face. The pain began almost immediately. It felt like his blood was turning to fire. His muscles contracted violently, pressing him against the glass. Through the blurry liquid, he could see the others also thrashing in their tanks. One tank across from him suddenly turned red with blood. The soldier inside had stopped moving. Days blurred together. Kong drifted between agony and unconsciousness. Sometimes he thought he was dying, other times he wished for death. In rare moments of clarity, he noticed changes. His vision could now penetrate the dimness of the facility with ease. He could hear conversations from rooms away. His muscles felt dense and powerful under his skin. On the 7th day, 3 more tanks had gone dark. Their occupants had not survived the transformation. Kong focused on his wife's face, his daughter's laugh, using the memories to pull himself through the pain. On the 10th day, Dr. Yoon appeared at his tank, studying readings on a tablet. Her lips moved, speaking to an assistant. Kong could hear her perfectly through the glass and liquid. Subject 17 is showing remarkable adaptation. The nanites have fully integrated with his cellular structure. His muscle density has increased by 300%, and his neural pathways are reconfiguring as predicted. After 14 days, the liquid drained from the tanks. 16 soldiers had died during the process. The 84 survivors emerged changed. Kong stood on shaky legs as assistants helped him from the tank. His body felt unfamiliar, stronger, heavier, more responsive. In the recovery room, he caught his reflection in a metal panel. His eyes had changed, reflecting light like a cat's. Fine metallic lines traced patterns just beneath his skin where the nanites had concentrated. He was taller by several centimeters, his muscles clearly defined. When he accidentally crushed a metal water cup in his hand, he realized he didn't yet understand his new strength. Admiral Lee arrived to inspect the transformed soldiers. He walked among them, noting their changes with a mixture of hope and unease. "You have 12 days to learn to control your new abilities," he told them. "The Krulthak's deadline approaches, and they believe we are preparing to surrender." Kong flexed his hand, watching nanites shift beneath his skin, forming patterns like flowing mercury. "What happens when they discover we're not going to kneel?" Admiral Lee's face was grim. "That's when you show them what humans are truly capable of." Later that day, the second group of volunteers entered the tanks. As Kong began his training, he could hear their screams echoing through the facility. The price of freedom would be high, but Earth would not surrender without a fight. The day before the Krulthak's deadline, Earth appeared ready to surrender. Military bases worldwide shut down their operations. Weapons were publicly destroyed in televised ceremonies. The United Nations prepared a formal surrender document, and the Secretary General practiced his speech of submission. Commander Kong and his team of enhanced soldiers watched these developments from their hidden base. Their training had been intense and brutal. They had learned to control their new strength, speed, and senses. The nanites in their bodies had adapted further, forming a kind of armor beneath their skin when threatened. "They've taken the bait," Admiral Lee said during their final briefing. "The Krulthak's commander has agreed to personally accept Earth's surrender in New York tomorrow. Their honor guard will accompany him." Kong studied the holographic map of New York City. "How many aliens in the honor guard?" "Intelligence suggests 20 elite warriors," replied Admiral Lee. "Their armor is similar to their ship's material, nearly impenetrable by conventional weapons." Dr. Yoon stepped forward. "But not impenetrable to you. Your enhanced strength and the reactive properties of your nanites should be able to breach their defenses." The plan was simple but dangerous. The super soldiers would be placed in strategic positions around the surrender ceremony. Once the Krulthak's delegation arrived, they would attack simultaneously. Speed and surprise were their only advantages. That night, Kong couldn't sleep again. He sat on the edge of his bed, looking at a photo of his family. He wondered if they would recognize him now, with his changed appearance and glowing eyes. Morning came quickly. The enhanced soldiers were transported to New York in unmarked vehicles. Kang's team took positions inside the UN building, disguised as security personnel. Through the windows, he could see the massive Krulthak's ship hovering above the city. At exactly noon, a beam of light shot down from the ship, depositing the alien delegation in front of the UN building. The Krulthak's commander was larger than the others, his armored body adorned with symbols of rank. The honor guard formed a protective circle around him as they marched toward the entrance. "Remember," Kong whispered into his communications device, "target the joints in their armor first. Work together. No hero moves." The aliens entered the grand hall where world leaders waited. The Secretary General stepped forward with the surrender document in his trembling hands. "On behalf of humanity," he began, "I present our formal." "Now!" Kong shouted into his comb. The super soldiers burst from their hiding places, moving faster than normal humans could track. Kong sprinted directly toward the Krulthak's commander, covering the distance in a heartbeat. The aliens reacted quickly, raising weapons that fired energy bolts across the room. One bolt struck Kong in the shoulder, but the nanites in his body immediately formed a shield, absorbing the impact. He felt the energy convert to heat, then dissipate through his system. Kong reached the commander and struck with all his enhanced strength. His fist connected with the alien's armored chest, creating a shockwave that knocked nearby humans off their feet. The armor cracked but held. The commander swung a massive armored arm, catching Kong across the face and sending him flying into a marble column. Normal bones would have shattered, but Kang's reinforced skeleton absorbed the impact. He was back on his feet instantly, blood trickling from his mouth. Around him, chaos erupted as the other super soldiers engaged the honor guard. Two of Kang's team had already fallen, their enhanced bodies not enough against the aliens' advanced weapons. But the others were adapting, learning the aliens' fighting patterns, finding weaknesses in their armor. Kong charged again, this time targeting the small gap he'd spotted where the commander's helmet joined the body armor. His fist connected, and the alien staggered backward. A strange blue fluid leaked from the crack. The commander roared something in his clicking language and pulled out a device that glowed with energy. Kong knew instinctively it was some kind of bomb. With one desperate leap, Kong tackled the commander. They crashed through the grand windows of the UN building, falling 20 meters to the plaza below. The impact created a crater in the concrete, dust billowing around them. When the dust cleared, Kong stood over the fallen commander. The alien's armor had split open, revealing a surprisingly fragile body beneath. The commander looked up at Kong with 6 yellow eyes full of disbelief. "Earth doesn't kneel," Kong said, driving his fist through the crack in the armor. After 15 minutes of intense fighting, it was over. All 21 aliens lay dead or captured. 7 super soldiers had been lost, their sacrifice securing humanity's first victory. As Kong looked up at the Krulthax ship, now frantically trying to beam up its surviving warriors, he activated his comm device. "Phase 1 complete," he reported. "They know we can fight back now." Above them, the alien ship began charging its weapons. The real war for Earth had just begun. In the shadowy depths of a high-security government facility, a secret project stirred to life. Dr. Elena Rodriguez stood before a massive computer screen, her fingers trembling slightly as she initiated the final sequence of Operation Ascension. The room hummed with electrical tension, a silent witness to the most ambitious human experiment ever conceived. Years of research had led to this moment. The project aimed to create the ultimate human enhancement, a way to expand human cognitive abilities beyond natural limitations. 12 carefully selected candidates waited in isolation chambers, each chosen for their exceptional genetic potential and psychological stability. Marcus Thompson, the lead military strategist, watched from a reinforced observation room. His steely eyes tracked every movement, every blinking light on the complex control panel. He had personally vetted each candidate, understanding the immense risk and potential reward of the experiment. The first phase began with a series of neurological stimulations. Tiny nanobots, developed in secret laboratories, would be injected into the candidates' bloodstreams. These microscopic machines were designed to rewire neural pathways, enhance synaptic connections, and unlock dormant areas of the human brain. One by one, the candidates began to show remarkable changes. Sarah Chen, a former mathematics prodigy, suddenly started solving complex quantum equations in mere minutes. Michael Rodriguez, a retired soldier, demonstrated unprecedented spatial awareness and reflexes that defied human limitations. But something unexpected started to happen. The candidates began to develop a subtle telepathic connection. At first, it was just whispers, faint thoughts that seemed to drift between their minds. Then, it became more pronounced. They could communicate without speaking, share memories, and understand each other's emotions with crystal clarity. Dr. Rodriguez watched in both fascination and growing concern. The experiment was working beyond their wildest expectations, but the potential consequences were becoming increasingly unpredictable. The line between human enhancement and something entirely new was blurring rapidly. As the days progressed, the candidates showed abilities that challenged everything scientists understood about human potential. They could process information at lightning speeds, manipulate complex systems with mere thought, and demonstrate physical capabilities that seemed almost superhuman. Marcus Thompson began to realize the true potential of Operation Ascension. These weren't just enhanced humans, they were the next stage of human evolution. The military applications were enormous, but so were the ethical questions. Could these individuals be controlled? Would they remain loyal to their original mission? The facility became a pressure cooker of tension. Scientists watched in awe and fear as the candidates continued to evolve. Their brains were literally rewriting the rules of human capability, creating neural networks that went far beyond anything previously imagined. On the 21st day, something unprecedented occurred. The 12 candidates simultaneously experienced a moment of collective consciousness. For a brief, extraordinary moment, they were one mind, sharing knowledge, emotions, and potential that transcended individual human experience. Dr. Rodriguez knew they had crossed a line that could never be uncrossed. Operation Ascension was no longer just an experiment, it was the beginning of something revolutionary. The world would never be the same. As alarms began to sound and emergency protocols were initiated, the candidates remained calm. They understood something the researchers did not. Their transformation was just beginning. The true potential of human evolution was about to be unleashed, and no one could predict what would happen next. Marcus Thompson made a critical decision. They could not contain what had been created. The candidates would need to be released, monitored, but ultimately allowed to explore their newfound capabilities. Humanity was about to witness its own transformation. The facility's lights flickered. Computer systems hummed with unprecedented energy. 12 extraordinary individuals stood ready, their minds connected, their potential unlimited. Operation Ascension had succeeded beyond anyone's wildest imagination, and the world would never be the same again. In the vast expanse of the Arizona desert, Dr. Elena Rodriguez stood at the edge of a remarkable discovery. The scorching sun beat down on her weathered research station, a collection of trailers and scientific equipment that seemed almost insignificant against the endless sandy landscape. For months, her team had been investigating strange electromagnetic signals that defied conventional scientific explanation. These signals were different, they pulsed with an intelligence that suggested something beyond random natural phenomena. Elena knew this was more than just another geological research project. Her assistant, Mark Thompson, carefully calibrated the sensitive monitoring equipment. His hands moved with precision, adjusting dials and checking digital readouts. Something was different today. The usual background noise had changed, becoming more structured, more purposeful. Suddenly, a low humming vibration started beneath their feet. The ground trembled slightly, not like an earthquake, but with a rhythmic pulse that felt almost mechanical. Elena's heart raced. She had spent her entire career searching for something extraordinary, and this moment felt different. The equipment began registering unprecedented readings. Electromagnetic waves that seemed to communicate in complex patterns started flooding the monitors. Mark stared in disbelief, his scientific training battling with pure amazement. "We're receiving something," he whispered, his voice barely audible over the subtle electronic sounds. Elena approached the main console, her eyes scanning the rapidly changing data. The signals weren't random. They carried a pattern, a structure that suggested intentional communication. Something was trying to communicate with them. As the day progressed, the signals became more intense. The research team gathered, their excitement growing with each passing hour. They realized they might be on the brink of the most significant scientific discovery in human history. The signals seemed to originate from deep underground, somewhere beneath the desert's seemingly empty landscape. Geological scans revealed unusual rock formations that didn't match any known natural structures. Something was hidden, waiting to be discovered. By sunset, the team had mapped out the signal's source. It appeared to be located approximately 300 meters beneath the desert floor, in an area that showed strange geometric patterns when viewed from advanced satellite imaging. Elena knew they needed more than just electronic readings. They would need to dig, to explore, to understand what was generating these extraordinary signals. Her mind raced with possibilities. Was this evidence of an ancient civilization? A forgotten technological remnant? Or something entirely beyond current human understanding? Mark suggested bringing in more specialized equipment. Ground-penetrating radar, advanced drilling tools, and a team of interdisciplinary experts would be crucial. This discovery could rewrite everything humans understood about archaeological and technological history. As darkness fell, the signals continued. They seemed to pulse with a rhythmic consistency that felt almost like a heartbeat. The research station buzzed with nervous energy. Scientists whispered theories, technicians checked and rechecked equipment, and everyone felt they were witnessing something unprecedented. Elena looked out into the dark desert. The stars above seemed to shimmer with a newfound mystery. Whatever was beneath their feet had remained hidden for centuries, perhaps millennia. And now, it was ready to be discovered. The next morning would bring more investigation, more questions, and potentially, answers that could change human understanding forever. The desert, which had kept its secrets for so long, was finally preparing to reveal its hidden truth. One thing was certain: this was just the beginning of an extraordinary journey. The signals continued their steady, mesmerizing pulse, promising revelations that would challenge everything they thought they knew about their world. As the night deepened, Elena remained awake, her mind filled with possibilities. The desert around her seemed to hold its breath, waiting for the moment of revelation that would soon arrive. The discovery waited, patient and silent, buried deep beneath the sandy ground, a testament to something unknown, something that had been waiting to be found. And Dr. Elena Rodriguez was determined to uncover its secrets, no matter what challenges lay ahead.